So today we're going to do something a little different. We're putting away all the usual data, the charts, and we're just going to tell a story. Now, it's a simple story, but don't let that fool you, right? It's got this really powerful lesson about the one thing we all have, but we all use so differently. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, so before we really get into it, I want you to think about something. What is the most valuable thing you own? Seriously, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it your house? Your car? Maybe something that doesn't cost much but means the world to you. Okay, whatever it is, just hang on to that thought. It's going to be important. Okay, so our story starts in this small, quiet village, and there we meet a father who is just deeply worried. And his worry wasn't about money, it wasn't about his health. No, it was about his son. And this kid, well, he was the reason his dad was so worried. The son was, to put it mildly, lazy. He just didn't do anything. He wouldn't work, wouldn't help out. He'd just spend his days sitting under a tree or kind of wandering around town, just letting the days, slip right by. Now, the father was smart. He knew that just yelling at his son wasn't going to do any good. He couldn't tell him to change. He had to get him to see it for himself. So he needed a plan, a really clever plan to show his son what he was actually throwing away every single day. And that's exactly what he came up with.
So he calls his son over, and he hands him this simple, kind of old-looking watch. His instructions were very specific. He said, "Take this watch to the market. I want you to ask everyone you meet how much they think it's worth." And just like that, the first part of the lesson had begun.
So off the son goes. I mean, it seems like a pretty easy job, right? A straightforward test of value, all about putting a number, a price tag, on an object. Or so he thought.
But when he got to the market, something really weird happened. Nobody could agree. One guy says, 500 rupees. The next person he asks, easily 1,000. And then someone else says, more like 800. The value of this watch just seemed to change depending on who he talked to. There was no single answer.
So he goes back home, totally confused. He tells his dad, "Everyone gave me a different price. I have no idea what it's worth." And the father, he just kind of smiles. The first part of his plan was working perfectly. Okay, so the next day, the father gives him a second job. And this one is way stranger. He's supposed to take the same watch back to the same market, but this time he has to ask a totally different question. He's not supposed to ask about the watch. He's supposed to ask people the price of the time inside the watch. Yeah, you can just imagine the son's face, right? What does that even mean? The price of time? It sounds completely bonkers. But, he was a good son, so he goes back to the market, probably feeling like a total fool, ready to ask this ridiculous question. And well, the reaction was exactly what you'd expect. It was instant and it was brutal. People just laughed in his face. They called it a foolish question. A few people just waved him away, telling him to stop wasting their time. The poor kid was so humiliated, he was just about ready to pack it in and go home. But just as he's about to give up, he spots this little shop tucked away. And inside, there's this kind-looking old man just quietly working on watches. The boy takes a deep breath and decides to ask his strange question one last time. And this man, he didn't laugh. He just stopped what he was doing, looked up, and really listened. And this, right here, is the turning point. This is what the whole story has been leading up to. The son had finally found someone who seemed to get what his father's weird riddle was all about. The watchmaker's answer was so simple, but wow, it was powerful. He just looked at the boy and said, "Son, you cannot put a price on time." See, unlike the watch, which everyone was trying to slap a price on, time is in a whole other league. He went on to explain it. He said, "You can give me millions of rupees, but you cannot buy back even 1 second of your life. Money can buy things, but it can never, ever buy back what's already gone. You could have all the money in the world, and you still couldn't buy a single second of yesterday. And that's what makes time so much more valuable than anything you can hold in your hand." And then the watchmaker laid out this really simple but profound idea. He said, the bad thing about time is that it's always passing. It's always slipping away. But the good thing, the amazing thing, is that you get to decide how to spend it. That power is all yours. I mean, just think about that for a second. Every single one of us on this planet, doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, old or young, we all get the exact same number, 24. 24 hours in a day. The only thing that makes us different is what we decide to do with those hours.
And right then, listening to this wise old man, it was like a light switch flipped on in the son's head. Everything just clicked. This was the lesson. This is what his father wanted him to understand. He thanked the watchmaker and just ran home. He was not the same person who left that morning.
And the change was, it was instant and it was deep. From that day on, no more lazy wandering. He started working hard, not because he had to, but because he finally understood that every single moment was this precious gift that would never, ever come around again.
And really, that gets us to the core of this whole story. Time is free for everyone, but it is absolutely priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you get to spend it. And the most important part, once it's gone for good.
So, let's circle all the way back to that first question I asked you. The most valuable thing you own, it isn't a thing at all, is it? It's your time. Which leaves us with the only question that really matters. How are you going to spend yours?